If I told you there's one technique that many women secretly wish men understood, but most men miss, simply because they're focusing on the wrong thing, what would you think? If you've always believed that trying harder should be enough, then why does that sense of connection become easier to slip away over time until you start wondering what you're doing wrong? And what if the truth is this? It's not that you lack confidence or capability, you've just been following a habit that makes it harder for your partner to reach what she needs most. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a urologist in Austin, Texas, and for more than 2 decades working in men's health, I've seen the same worry come up again and again, especially for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. The unspoken fear that they're doing everything right, yet still not reaching their partner's genuine satisfaction. The most painful part isn't in the body, it's in the silence afterward, in the look that says everything without words, in the feeling that you want to be closer but don't know where to start changing. In this video, I'm going to explain, clearly, scientifically, and in a way you can actually apply, the number one technique that shifts intimacy from an effort into a conversation. If you like content that's straightforward, respectful, and immediately useful, subscribe to Dr. Emily Carter, Men's Health, so you don't miss what comes next. And if you find this helpful, you can leave a simple number in the comments. Type 1 if you want me to make more of this kind of series, or 0 if you want me to slow down and explain any part more clearly. Now, before we get into the technique, we need to understand one common misunderstanding that has led far too many couples off track. And once you get this part right, everything that follows becomes surprisingly simple. There's one misunderstanding I see over and over in my clinic in Austin. Men think sex is about doing the technique right and being strong enough, long enough, and that a woman's emotional experience will naturally follow. But in real life, it's often the opposite. When you focus on rhythm, on performance, you can unintentionally overlook the one thing that helps her open up the most, feeling touched in the right place, at the right pace, and knowing that you're truly there with her. Have you ever felt that moment? Everything seems fine, and then there's a tiny silence afterward, just enough to make you wonder, what did I miss? Pop culture has trained a lot of people to believe that penetration is the center of the whole experience. So men walk into the bedroom the way they'd approach a straight line: start, speed up, finish. But a woman's body rarely works in a straight line. It needs steadiness. It needs an even pace. It needs a kind of contact that, if you don't intentionally create it, doesn't simply appear on its own. And when it doesn't appear, both of you can fall into the most painful loop. You try harder, she tenses up more, you worry you're not enough, and she hesitates to say anything because she doesn't want to hurt you. And if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and you're noticing you get tired more easily, you carry more tension, then the answer is even less about pushing harder. It's about changing the way you think. In the next part, I'll give you a brief, clear explanation of the key anatomical point that causes most men to miss the target, and why one small adjustment can change her entire experience. I want to say one sentence plainly because a lot of men were never taught this. A woman's pleasure doesn't bloom on its own, just from repetitive motion. For most women, the center of sexual pleasure is strongly connected to the clitoris and the sensory network around it. The problem is that many traditional patterns of movement create too little steady, consistent contact with this sensitive area, so her sensation rises and then drops like a flame flickering because it's not getting enough oxygen. And when sensation isn't stable, it's hard for her to reach the relaxation she needs to orgasm no matter how much you try. Do you see the paradox? The harder you try to prove yourself, the more you can put her body on alert. Many women stay quiet not because they don't need anything, but because they've gotten used to just enduring it to keep the peace, and then men carry this quiet fear. Am I getting older? Am I getting worse? In many cases, the truth isn't that. It's an alignment issue, not a masculinity issue. This is where I want you to pause for a beat because it's the emotional peak of this whole message. If tonight you walk into the bedroom with the mindset that you have to get it done, you have to be good at it, you're going to miss what matters most. I want you to ask yourself a question that's a little sharp, but necessary. If she's quiet after you've been intimate, is it because she doesn't love me? Or because I've never asked what she truly needs? Coming up next, I'm going to give you an anatomy-based technique for aligning contact. Nothing weird, nothing flashy, but something that can turn a race into a dance for both of you. Think of this as a medical technique in the best sense of the word: simple, logical, and respectful of both bodies. The goal isn't deeper, it's more precise. You start from a familiar position, but instead of creating space and using big movements, you prioritize close contact. So your pubic bone and the base of your penis can maintain steady contact with her most sensitive area. A thin pillow under her hips can help adjust the angle, reduce lower back strain, and make everything feel more naturally aligned. The key is the movement. You stop thinking in terms of thrusting in and out, and you think in terms of rocking, gentle pressure, and even rhythm. When your body maintains continuous contact, her sensation doesn't get interrupted. And when sensation isn't interrupted, she can relax more easily, sync with use more easily, and become more naturally responsive. This isn't a trick. It's how you turn your own body into an instrument tuned to the right frequency. But I need you to remember one thing so this video doesn't turn into a lifeless lesson. A technique only works when there's communication. You ask one short question at the right time. Does this feel good, or should I slow down a little? And you listen, without getting defensive. If you want to engage right now, do a quick self-check. Are you the kind of man who stays quiet because you're afraid of losing face, or the kind who talks a lot but never asks the one question that actually matters? In the next part, I'll talk about rhythm, patience, and how to coordinate so she no longer feels like she's on the outside of the experience. And I'll also warn you about 3 mistakes that can ruin everything, even if your intentions are good. The most common mistake is autopilot. You've just learned a new technique, but when things heat up, your body slips back into old habits. Bigger movements, faster pace, and disconnection. If you notice yourself sliding back, don't try to fix it with speed. Pause for a moment, come back into close contact, find that continuous connection again, then continue. In sex, stopping at the right time doesn't make you weaker, it makes you more skillful. The second mistake is silence. A lot of men assume, if it feels good to me, it must feel good to her. And a lot of women assume, if I say something, he'll take it personally. The result is that both people guess, and guessing is usually wrong. You only need one simple, low-pressure question. Do you like more pressure or lighter? She only needs one short answer. That's perfect. Those small phrases, when you know how to use them, are worth more than any hack. The third mistake is giving up too soon. The first time might feel a little unfamiliar, a little mechanical, but don't label that as failure. Treat it like a new dance. It can take a few tries for the two of you to find the same rhythm. You can laugh, you can say, let's try that again, as long as you don't turn it into a test. And if you're in your 50s or 60s, I'll add one practical piece of advice: prioritize comfort. If there's pain, dryness, or ongoing discomfort, stop and get professional guidance. No technique is worth trading away safety. In the next part, I'll share a few advanced tips that work especially well for older men. Less effort, more connection, and helping her feel more genuinely valued. When grown men ask me, what's the most effective tip? I often answer with a sentence that sounds almost too simple to believe. Make her body feel safe first, and only then does pleasure have room to bloom. That's why the first advanced tip isn't a move, it's a condition. The right lubricant can turn an experience from just enduring it into smooth, especially as aging changes the body. Don't treat that as less attraction. Treat it as care. The second tip is this: don't focus only on the main point. When you can maintain close contact and a steady rhythm, you gain your biggest advantage: intimacy. Use it. A hand on her back, a slow kiss, a well-timed whisper. Sometimes, those are what unlock everything faster than any technique. Have you noticed? What women remember most often isn't strong. It's being loved while you're close. The third tip is to give her control of the rhythm when it makes sense. There are variations where the woman can control pressure and pace better, and you get less fatigued. Many older couples prefer this because it reduces the pressure for the man to perform and increases the woman's sense of agency. But the principle doesn't change. Steady contact, an even rhythm, clear communication. If you've made it this far, I want you to answer one question for yourself. Do I want it to be the man who's good at technique, or the man who makes her feel loved? Because your answer will decide whether you use this technique as a trick or as a way of living. In the final part, I'll pull everything together into a simple 7-night map so you can practice without pressure, and I'll explain why technique is only the vehicle, while what keeps a relationship warm after 60 is what matters most. I don't want you to take this video into the bedroom the way you'd take a lesson. I want you to bring it in like a small promise. Tonight, I'm going to slow down for one beat and ask one question the right way. Over the next 7 nights, you don't need to change everything. You only need to hold one principle: steady contact, an even rhythm, and kind communication. On the first night, practice aligning and finding a slow pace. On the second night, practice one short question and answer. On the third night, practice staying close and relaxing your shoulders. After that, you simply repeat and fine-tune. You'll be surprised how something small, repeated enough, turns into something big. And here's what I want you to remember most as a urologist who has worked with men for many years. A mature man's real strength isn't in doing more, it's in knowing how to do it better and stay present longer. The technique you just learned isn't meant to make you perfect. It's meant to help you stop bracing and help her stop staying silent. If you're the kind of man who's always carrying the worry, am I enough? Try changing the question. Instead of asking, how long can I last, ask, have I listened deeply enough? Because when you listen deeply enough, her body often responds in ways you can't force with effort. If this helped you see the path a little more clearly, subscribe to Dr. Emily Carter, Men's Health. And as promised, you can leave a simple number in the comments. Type 1 if you want me to continue this science-based, respectful series for men 50-60 plus, or 0 if you want me to slow down and get more specific in any part. In the next video, I'll teach a low-effort version for men with back pain, who get tired easily or who are losing confidence.